Hey beautiful biscuits. How is your day going? I hope you are not having an anxious day. I hope you're having a joyful day full of, you know what, I'm gonna say it, happiness. Gosh darn happiness. You're like, should my day's priority be happiness? I do not know, Rose. Is that greedy of me? No, happiness is never greedy to pursue. And that is something I've been doing, is pursuing my love of gardening that makes me happy, that helps reduce my anxiety. So I find, as an anxious person, a naturally anxious person, and every anxious person I know is like this, that even when you find a hobby that makes you joyful and happy, it's really easy for that anxious part of your brain to go like, oh, don't worry, I can ruin this too. Let's get anxious about gardening. So I do still have to like actually make a concerted effort to not just go into my anxiety spirals over things that I love, right? Because it's so easy. So I have been adding in gardening. I have added little rock pieces to my garden. I've been experimenting with growing different things, using different little fertilizers. I've planted some fruit trees in my little suburban yard. I don't have a huge yard, but I've been trying to use it for fun, relaxing space. And one of the things I have loved doing is watching seeds sprout. And this is such a simple technique, but it really is such a grounding thing. So, you know, part of anxiety is constant worry about the what coulds, what woulds, what shoulds, right? What could happen? And spiraling into that anxiety level. And when you have something so physical as watching the seed sprout and grow, it can be a very powerful grounding into, you know what's going to happen. You see it going, and so it gives you this continuity of your day, your week, your months ahead that can be very calming for when you experience a lot of anxious thoughts. So it can be very powerful. Another thing I do is I use it as a way to rewire my brain from going into the doom scrolling of my life, right? It's really easy for me to walk around my yard and go, oh my God, there's weeds. Oh my gosh, I have to mow the lawn, or oh my gosh, I need to plant this, or I need to water this. And it's that what I should be doing, what could happen if I don't. And so it's a really visceral reminder to me to rewire that thinking. And instead to go through the yard and look at all the beautiful flowers, and to look at the vegetables that are sprouting, or the fruit that's coming on the bush or the tree, and to really reapproach how I'm looking at life, which is totally applicable to any scenario, right? Instead of looking at the things that you're worried about getting accomplished, or the things that you think aren't quite right or aren't as good as you want, instead, you're rewiring your brain to look at something and say, oh, that's beautiful. Oh, look what did happen that was good. Look at what is going to be amazing in a couple weeks, right? Something gorgeous to eat, something gorgeous to do, something gorgeous to be. It's rewiring our brains. So I think gardening can be super powerful in reworking how we approach the day, and also giving us actual physical grounding techniques. Because, you know, when you're gardening, when you're in the moment, like sometimes I sit down in one of my little gravel areas to weed, and I just sit there. I can sit there in the sun, the rocks are warm, my kids are around, we hang out, you know, there they play while I weed. Maybe my toddler comes and sits on my lap. And it's just glorious. And I could be thinking, oh, I'm having to do this, or oh, I should be doing that. But instead, I'm in the moment. I'm really being joyful and experiencing that. I'm hanging out with my family. We're outdoors breathing in fresh air. A lot of times we'll pick some berries, or we'll munch on some veggies from the garden while we're doing gardening work. And it's just a really beautiful way to manifest joy, and to remember that that power of manifesting is so much more intense when we do live with mindfulness in the moment, right? When we're like really in the moment, it's so much easier to manifest powerful intentions in your life when you are legitimately in each moment of your life. There's just something about that, you know, magic, for lack of a better word, use of energy, use of mental power to really be present. And boy, does being present help reduce anxiety, because if you're in the moment, if you're in a great, good moment, it's glorious, right? It's not about what's gone wrong before. It's not about what could go wrong, right? It's none of those anxiety spirals that we can trip on down. just about being joyful in the moment. So I highly, highly recommend just being in the moment in your garden. And it can be a little tiny couple pots that you fill with things to grow. It can be a great big garden. Maybe you have acres to garden in, but something that is of the soil, of the seasons, that you and your family just get to enjoy together. And that is in no way about perfection. It's just about enjoying the beauty of being alive and of being closer connected to nature. You know, it's kind of like our bodies have basic needs. You know, we need to get enough physical movement, we need to get sunlight, we need to make sure we're drinking enough water, right? These basic things. And so much of modern life doesn't make sure we get enough of any of those. So when we're kind of tuning back into our more base selves, our basic needs, I really feel like that lowers anxiety because we're meeting these basic needs. You know, we're getting enough vitamin D from the sun. We're getting enough water for our body to function. We are touching dirt for those microbes that we know interact with our mood in our own body and our gut biome. We are eating really nutritious food that we've grown ourselves. We are sensory-wise picking up the scents of all these flowers and beautiful things that we're growing. It is calming, it's relaxing. It is an amazing way to lower anxiety. So I highly recommend, you don't have to have a green thumb, you don't have to be great at it. Just enjoy it and relax and see it for the gorgeous plant therapy that it is. It's maybe one of the best forms of therapy that there can be. Just getting out there in the soil. Okay, my loves, I am going to see you over on my Instagram channel. I'm going to see you on Patreon. I am getting back to editing some more of the romance series that we are turning into a streaming erotica series, which is so fun and calm. If you can think of relaxing romance novels, juicy relaxing romance novels into a streaming series, that's what I've been working on lately. So if I'm MIA sometimes on here, that's because I'm filming and editing and casting, and it's been such fun, you know, finding these joys of the romance of nature. And nature has such romance to it. It's beautiful. Okay, loves. I'll see you in the next video.